What is up, everybody? Chris Hendrickson here, coming at you with the Hendrickson News. If you are new around here, be sure to hit that like button on Facebook. If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And if you want to stay involved with the conversation, go over on Twitter, follow us at Hendrickson News. On all the other social media platforms, it's at Hendrickson Media. And we have a very exciting article to share with you today. A huge announcement was made from the Supreme Court of the United States, and this one is featured on A Humane Nation, which is Kitty Block's official blog. Kitty Block is the acting president and CEO of the Humane Society of the United States, and Kitty writes, "Breaking news. Supreme Court lets stand California and Massachusetts ban on cage confinement and foie gras ban. A victory that will likely prevent suffering for millions of farm animals. The Supreme Court snuffed out efforts by the factory farming lobby and associated interests to overturn landmark laws against cage confinement in California and Massachusetts and a California ban on the sale of foie gras. The court declined to take up challenges to California and Massachusetts laws enacted in 2010 and 2016 prohibiting the sale of certain cruelly produced eggs, pork, and veal. Successful measures that the Humane Society of the United States and our allies worked hard to pass. This is also good news for Proposition 12 in California, which the state's voters approved by a substantial majority 2 months ago. And that substantial majority was actually 63%. All right, well, 62.7, but we can round up to 63. So that means about 2/3 of California voters want to ban these cruel confinement practices and the sale of these cruel products in the state of California. Prop 12 built on existing California law to ban the extreme confinement of egg-laying hens, mother pigs, and calves raised for veal in cages so small they can barely move. The Supreme Court also declined to take a case aimed at overturning another success, California's ban on the sale of force-fed foie gras. Foie gras is produced by force-feeding a duck or goose such excessive amounts of food that his liver becomes swollen and diseased. California lawmakers, at the behest of California voters in the HSUS and other animal protection groups, banned the production and sale of force-fed foie gras more than a decade ago. But not surprisingly, foie gras producers sued and on two separate appeals lost in the Ninth Circuit Court. The Supreme Court's decision today upholds that federal court's most recent ruling, sparing thousands of birds from the inherent cruelty and suffering of forced feeding practices. And if you're like me, you're pretty confused on the court system in the United States. So I just wanted to go over that really briefly. So in the United States, there are three basic levels of federal court. At the very bottom, you've got the district courts. These are like county courts. You know, most people, if they've been to court, probably have been to a district court. Above that, you've got the U.S. Court of Appeals, and then above that is the U.S. Supreme Court, which is the highest level of jurisdiction in the United States for law. And in the district courts, these are where you're going to have like a judge and a jury and a trial. Whereas in the Court of Appeals and in the Supreme Court, there are no juries, just judges. Getting down here, if you're really interested in learning more, you can take this fun quiz. I scored 80% on it because I got this question wrong, which is which courts are the trial courts in the federal system? I marked Court of Appeals because I didn't really think about it. I just clicked, and then it's actually the district courts. Anyways, the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit covers basically the western part of the United States, states like Arizona, California, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, etc. And then the Supreme Court is the highest court in the federal judiciary of the United States. Getting back over to the article. Voters throughout the country have consistently shown that they support animal welfare standards for products sold within the states. And courts have long held that states have the right under the Constitution to establish similar criteria. But some factory farm corporations hate the progress we've made in the area and have spent years prevaricating, which I didn't know what that word meant. I actually had to look it up. It means to speak or act in an evasive way. For any of you out there who also don't know what it means. Let me get back. Prevaricating and delaying instead of making reforms. These companies have tried to overturn the rights of states to set these standards both in Congress and the courts. Despite the factory farming industry's massive financial resources and its army of lobbyists and lawyers, we've repeatedly prevailed. This time, the factory farm lobby convinced the attorneys general of several states to take their argument directly to the Supreme Court, but the Solicitor General of the United States, the top lawyer for the federal government, emphatically urged the Supreme Court to reject these cases, and the court agreed. Major progress always results in major pushback, and we suspect that some cruel pork, egg, veal, and foie gras producers will continue to try to undermine the will of the voters. But with you at our side, we expect to prevail against all challenges to our precedent-setting work in this area. Thank you for your support, which makes these victories today, and all the progress which we have made for hens, ducks, geese, pigs, and calves who suffer as a result of intensive confinement and other factory farming practices possible. So if you live in California or Massachusetts and you voted yes on either question 3 or Prop 12 or Prop 2 10 years ago, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's people like you that really shift society forward in our treatment of animals, and this is not over. This is like just the beginning. Every step in this process is a starting point for the future. So if you aren't currently signed up, please get involved with an animal advocacy organization if this topic is of interest to you. Some of the ones that I like to support are, the Humane Society of the United States, the Humane League, the organization that I work for, Mercy for Animals, Animal Equality, Compassion in World Farming, In Defense of Animals, and those are just to name a few of the animal protection organizations doing either legislative work or corporate campaigns work or helping to get undercover investigations so that we can raise awareness about the cruelty going on behind slaughterhouse walls. But be sure to check them out, see which one of these organizations appeals to you and your personal interests, and then get involved accordingly. So whether you join up and sign up to volunteer with one or all of these organizations, as long as we're doing something to move the bar forward for animals, we are going to have a better place in the future that treats animals, regardless of their species, compassionately, kindly, with respect, and give them the proper lives that they deserve on this planet. So thank you so much to everyone who worked on this to make this possible. Thank you to Supreme Court for upholding the Court of Appeals ruling, or for denying the hearing of this case, because it would go against what the voters of California and Massachusetts want. We have to respect states' rights because there are ballot measure processes in place, and those processes help allow direct democracy for the people and really create the world that we as the people want to create. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time. As I mentioned, be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. If you liked this video, please consider sharing it on your social media platforms. You can link us. It's at Hendrickson Media. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Super exciting news. I hope you have a great day wherever you are at, and stay tuned for more cool videos.